No problem.
Okay, we hope to get some people coming in from YouTube to meet with us. You did so well last time. Everybody wanted the continuation.
It's okay.
Okay, who is there on YouTube? We want to greet you, if you don't mind, if you would like to greet us. Okay, we have Snoop. Good morning, Snoop. Blessings. So, is there anybody that wants to greet us apart from Snoop? Because we are going to greet you people from YouTube, then we'll go to Facebook. Okay.
But you know, the kingdom gospel is inexhaustible. You can't exhaust it, really.
Inexhaustible. Did you also listen to the kingdom that I did in Australia, or you didn't manage to see those ones?
Australia, yeah, I listened to the one in Australia and the other one in Norway, the Norway convention.
Okay. Was it on the kingdom or in Norway?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay. But you didn't see the Australia, because the Australia, it was in a series of 5 or 6.
Okay.
Yeah, so a lot of them, but they are not in that same group as we put them. They were put in another group. Okay, let me go and greet the people from Facebook. We have some people on Facebook already. Plutonic is here. Ayodeji is here. Shola is here. Rebecca is here. Helen is here. Shinwe Ananaba, how are you? I hope you are hearing of what your old friends are doing on the internet. God kind of delivered you from the deception. No, you need to make your head come higher. It will have come down, way down. You need to make the telephone come higher, like we did before. Yep. Maybe you put something under it or something. Yeah, good. But more higher, even more than that. Much higher. Okay, not bad. Not bad. But once you lean back, then you come down.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, we have Charles Adeniji here. We have Isaac Odejemi. We have Josephine Akrofi. We have Abose De Adeyinka, William Basintia, Bisiola Akamune, Osawaru, The King, Helena, William Rufaro, Masonge, Tony Odukale, Patobasi, Gift. Welcome everyone. Precious, Akiboboye, Tony, Olobayo, Edna, Patience, John Lucky, Isaac, Ehimola, Isaac, Odejime, Yodeji, Bello. Well, welcome everyone. What we are going to be talking about right now is the kingdom of God with Idee. But then tonight we are going to continue with Chris Oyakilome. We might need you to move this way a little bit to your is it to your left?
To your right?
No, to your left. The opposite. Yeah, that way, yeah. Yes. So I don't know, Idee, did you manage to listen to the pioneers session that I had yesterday, starting with the first one I did with Oyakilome?
Yes, I've listened to I've listened to everything actually.
No, just yesterday. The one of yesterday, did you manage to see it?
Yes, so partly, yeah.
Okay.
I saw partly, yeah.
Because I want to do I'm doing a whole series on Oyakilome. It started yesterday. So today is going to be a continuation. After we finish with you, 30 minutes later, we'll jump on that one. But it was very challenging, very, very challenging.
Yeah, I see it. It's true. It's necessary. I think it's timely.
And then the one I did on Adeboye, you also saw that one.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, but it's important for people to know that I'm not against these men. I love them, and I'm not even talking about their private, personal lives. I'm talking about doctrines and practices in the church. We are saving the church, not just
But the reason or the psychological perspective of Africans and then those that are in diaspora that have come to expose and experience methods of thinking, and these things become normal, is going to be very different, because in the diaspora, there's just a lot of people in the diaspora will not challenge because this is normal thing.
They will not challenge?
They will not challenge your perspective. They will be so happy.
Yeah, those are in the perspective in the diaspora.
Because they'll be enlightened. It will open up their spirit to questions that they've been asking. And sometimes there are these questions that exist that you don't know what is going on. You really cannot relate who you are with your environment and what is true. And so you keep searching, and then one day you meet the information and you say, oh, and that actually fills in the crack. So you get to understand that this is what I've been thinking, that there's something wrong about this system, So those in diaspora that have comparative structures will not have problems with you. Because even if they are not church goers or Christians, they have comparative structures in the environment they live. So they can relate to what you say. And they would actually get to realize that they have not been really thinking, giving time to think about certain things all their lives. So when you fill in the crack, now it will free them. Because now they can match the truth, even if they are not educated. I'm telling you, even if they are not educated, but they live in diaspora, they don't have PhD, they probably have never been to college. There's just no way you live in diaspora and don't ask questions about what you see at your environment and what is going on. And then oftentimes that question will come back to you. Is there something wrong with me? Like we often say sometimes, is there something wrong with our people or black people or the system? So when you bring out those analytical and critical informations, everybody would appreciate it, really. Because it's not new. Even your children at home would question you, You can't, even my own children, I can't raise them the way I was raised. I've just got to find that out. They will question you every time. And they will say, no, but I was just asking. You say, why don't say that? No, don't talk to others. Say, no, Daddy, I was just asking a question. But it's just a question. When they say that, you take to think, but truly, it is just a question they're asking, and they're being critical about these things. So the diasporas will not have problem with it. But Africa, with those of, I experienced this too, even in my own family, people would criticize things that to you have become so normal, and yet they really cannot see. And oftentimes, I would try to put myself in their shoes, and I come to realize that I would have been the same if I was there, really.
Yeah, I too.
So when you see yourself, then you then understand their situation, and then you kind of approach the situation with grace, and kind of have mercy. I think.
Agree. Now, we are going to be dealing with the kingdom message, and that is the series I taught on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yes, but before you do the review of the topic in general, I want to ask, why is it that the Nigerian churches don't preach the kingdom? Or do you disagree? Maybe you disagree. Maybe you think they preach the kingdom.
No. I don't disagree with you at all. I don't. I believe the concept of the kingdom is missing. I mean, if you read lexicons and commentaries, when you get to Acts chapter 1, verse 3, when they say that Jesus spent 40 days on the earth preaching the kingdom with his disciples, every lexicon and commentaries will let you know that is a missing manuscript. They will tell you that manuscript is missing. If you can spend 40 days, which is a month and 10 days, that is a certification program. That is like going for a full course. So if you spend 40 days telling them about the kingdom, that means he was giving them instruction on what they have. Maybe that was, not even maybe, that will eventually propel them, like Thomas went on to India, and Jude went up to into Turkey and all those places. I'm sure that propelled them to go to the furthermost part as far as they could walk and take over the earth. And I saw that understanding what propelled them. But we don't have that manuscript. I don't know if it is missing, or sometimes I could be wrong, but I just suspect the Catholic Church might have that manual and they're hiding it from other people. They use it to build their institution, because you must give it to them. They'll be good at building their institution all over the world. And if they had given us the understanding of the Torah, understanding of the kingdom, you're sure that we would have filled the earth by now, but they probably just give it to personal benefit. Because I don't want to believe that manuscript is not there. I mean, there were 12 guys, and maybe Matthias joined after Judas Iscariot, and for 40 days they listened to him and did not write it down.
Okay, but apart from that, because you are talking about the 40 days he was preaching on the kingdom after he resurrected. Mm-hmm. But even besides that, 75% of all his messages while he was on earth was on the kingdom. So for me, that is enough. It is enough what he has done, but because I would call myself a kingdom preacher. So how come I could discover the kingdom and preach the kingdom, and the people in my country, so many churches, and you have more churches in Nigeria than almost anywhere else, and they are not preaching the kingdom. Look, I think we will need you to move again to that same left, because your half of your face is what we see right side. Yes, it's better now.
Yeah. A lot of things that happen in church were just handed over to us, and we did not ask questions,
Okay, I think that might be a problem, because in my own case, I was not raised up in church, and so I didn't get something ready-made from anybody. I had to research myself. I had to study. Questioning was really key.
It was handed over to us, and oftentimes it was easy for us to kind of acclimatize to the whole concept, particularly when you have an environment that reflects what you are being taught. And so when you look at the African traditional culture and the structure, it could accommodate the kind of religiosity that we have now, and really could not have an understanding of anything different. It's the same thing like with you trying to plan for development living in the West, and then somebody in Nigeria or Africa trying to plan for development. They would think about building roads, but to you, roads are normal. You never see like the governor or a president go to open a road, a foundation laying stones to construct a road in the West, because those things are normal. But then in Africa, you will see things that relate to the environment. So any other thing becomes glorious, but then it must be reflected in the environment. That's why even in the interpretation of the scriptures, it has relevance to them based on the culture, the predominant culture of our environment. But the kingdom concept did not have anything to be compared with. So the understanding definitely was stifled, because the Romans had an understanding of the kingdom. Like when the centurion met Jesus, he said, no, you don't need to come. I know how these things work. If this is how it is in the physical, that's how it must be in the spiritual. So you don't need to come. So he had the understanding, because he was a man. He said, I am a man of the authority. In other words, I could use my situation to relate to what you're saying, and I can have a good understanding to apply what you're saying. But in a situation where there is there's no reflection in the environment, application is very, very hard. That is why you see a lot of times you have leaders that come to this country, to the West, and you see these things, but they really cannot build it when they get back. Because the foundation of the substratum, the foundation that holds it, in terms of the mindset and the understanding, the research and the study, we don't have it applicable in our environment. So you can never really replicate it, except because what you see on the surface, what is on the foundation is oftentimes deeper than the surface.
So Nigeria, I still want to talk about Nigeria.
I know.
Yes. So what do you think there is hope for us to be able to re-educate the new generation of ministers or pastors in Nigeria to understand the concept of the kingdom and the gospel of the kingdom?
There is hope. But of course, the hope for the hope to be properly established, we must fight this culture of mysticism, the kind of gospel that is being preached, the reliance on miracles, because miracles itself is really mysticism, just believing that, living responsibility that God has given to man for the Spirit. That's what it is. So they must come to a point that they see that these things do not work. And of course, it's going to be maybe in the next 15 to 20 years, because it is rising now, it will come to that point that it does not work. Now, the challenge that we have to reverse to accommodate or to mitigate is that the guys that really pushed the salvation gospel, you must give it to him, maybe like Billy Graham, did a good job. But that was a half job, because, he stopped them at the door.
Yeah.
But would not lead the people into the house.
But he was doing his job because he was an evangelist.
Yeah, he was an evangelist, yeah. He stopped them at the door. But then there would have been another system for other people to come and lead them into the house. And so stopping them at the door left them with the phrase that eventually become the gospel of escapism, where they think we just have to escape the world and just wait to die to go to heaven. Because the gospel of salvation, actually, if it is just the only focus, it will only stop us at the door, and there is just no way we cannot create, you will not have the gospel of escapism coming out of salvation if after salvation the kingdom is not properly introduced.
How will you describe the gospel of the kingdom?
The gospel of the kingdom is God's dominion coming to reign in every sphere of life here on the earth. It's simple as that. It's simple, and I struggled with it for so many years. I really did.
Some people might need further explanation to that. I understood exactly what you're talking about, but many people would need further explanation.
The gospel of the kingdom, it's not hard. It is not hard to see or to know or to think about it, because when you look at the life in itself, unless you don't ask questions about everything around you, then you will not even understand the gospel of the kingdom if you don't ask questions of everything around you. And when I mean everything, I mean from animals, from inventions, to government, to all the things that you see, getting on the aeroplane itself, using the telephone and the communication media that we're seeing right now. The initial question every man should be able to ask, a thinking Christian should be, is it God that gave the idea for these computers to be created, or was it the devil?
Seriously.
We don't ask. That's that. Back in the day, it was where we are is the escapism gospel, where people had to be locked in church and say, don't watch TV. Don't listen to the radio. Those things, all these things will lead you to hell. Just stay here and just wait to go to heaven and reign with God. So we just shut down everything and ready to go to heaven. When you are there, that means you can't even go to university, because you're not going to study electronics, because that is the foundation for everything. So now, if you study electronics or if you study radiography or radiology, you're going to go to hell. That's what it means. So there will be limited knowledge in such an environment. But when you see how good these things have done to disseminate information properly, particularly when you have the understanding, like the telephone, to pick up the phone and call somebody millions of miles away, and then just talking to them like they're next to you, you tend to ask questions. Is it God that gave man the knowledge to build the computer, the iPad, when it first came out. I started to wonder, is it God that gave man, or is it the devil that would have given this knowledge? How can the devil give us the knowledge to build something good that could be so useful? And then I started saying that, and thinking to myself that God must be bigger than what we were told in church. God must be involved in everything that we're told. There just has to be a God having a plan for all of those things. And then if God has a plan for all these things that we see around us, then we Christians should be the forerunners of everything that there is on earth. Because I came to see also that the initial scientists, were Christians, all of them.
Yeah.
They were all Christians. All the scientists that we had were Christians. And then so I come to see that then when you think of men like John Lennox, that are scientists and are Christians, and there's so many of them, then I started to think that God just has to be bigger than just salvation. So the gospel of the kingdom then gave me the understanding. When I researched into it, I looked into it, I saw that God, the kingdom of God, and the dominion of God does not have a limit. It was supposed to start like the mustard seed small and spread to the uttermost part of the earth. And then I started to see it now. There was a message I just spoke about in, I think 2016 about Luke chapter number 9.
Yeah.
That when they were going out, and then Jesus gave them abilities to cure sickness and to preach the kingdom of God. Then I started to see that if Jesus gave them that abilities temporarily, it's because the Holy Spirit has not yet gotten into them.
Yeah.
But then when the Holy Spirit now gets into them, they are not supposed to be, there's not, like you said, they're waiting on deliverance, waiting on that. In some ways, I waited on some of those things at some point, particularly in struggles, You wait on deliverance. Is that the thing? You know how your mind wonder. Is that the thing? It's fasting, and then you fast, and you don't cure it. You come back, you start again. You look for all kind of ways just to reach out to this supernatural, true religiosity, But then when you come to look at what Jesus did, he gave them the power. And then when he came back now, he gave them the final power with the Holy Spirit. That means you're now carrying the whole concept. You're now carrying the kingdom in you. He says, and he told them it shall be in you. He promised them it's going to be in you, this thing. So we carry the kingdom. And then I started to think, maybe we are more than who we have been told we are.
No, but most Nigerian churches will tell you that you still have to do some things and struggle all your life to make heaven, as if to get to the kingdom of God. You have to do something now. You have to be holy. You have to, be righteous. You have to keep on doing something so that you will get to the kingdom of God. And you are now telling us that, no, but Jesus said it's already in us right now.
He says it's already in us. We're carriers of the kingdom. He said you carry the kingdom. It was really, really liberating. You understand? It was really liberating, and it gave me a new perspective about the things I looked at as problems. I felt free. I said, oh, okay. So there's really nothing wrong with me. All these things are part of the journey of the kingdom. I have to learn, I have to research. But then when I listen to some speakers, like something that you talk about, and then there are some other Christian apologists, and then I started to read and research philosophy. And I found out there was just too much ignorance, and there is no way in my situation that I could have attended the hunger that I have in my spirit with all that I knew. I found out there was more to learn. There's just more. And it was just so deep, It's like trying to say, I am, put it this way, it's like trying to say that me and Bill Gates are the same. Yes, we are the same human being, but there's a level of information that he has acquired in his brain that has made him who he is. And if I can acquire that much too, there's just no way I will not produce the same amount of result. But and that's why you see when people steal money in government all over the world, when they steal money in Nigeria, when they steal money, they really cannot be recognized in the same category like those kind of men. I mean, some of them could steal money like 100 times more than what Obama might have had, but in the same room, in the same capacity, when they speak, nobody would listen to them.
Yeah.
Because they don't have up here or add value to themselves such that they can influence the world and influence people and change lives. They cannot. So I started to think, yes, it's human, but then if I fill myself up with the understanding of, for example, when you talk about the Truth series, That truth series, I listened once to a philosopher talked about how you go about to establish the truth. So for the first time in my life, I got to find out that truth has a formula.
Yep.
Truth is not just, oh yeah, well, it's not when you argue and say, I must tell you the truth. No. Truth has a formula. So just understanding knowledge. When the Bible says in Hosea 6, but people perish for lack of knowledge. Knowledge is so sweet. It's so beautiful. You can have knowledge here and just die very happy because of what you've come to know. It can free you. And so when you're talking to people and when while they're talking, you are interpreting it based on your formula for what the truth is. And when you don't meet that formula and that understanding, sometimes you just keep quiet, but they don't understand why you keep quiet. But you know that there's just too much gap, that this cannot be true. It might be subjective, it might just be feeling, but it just cannot be true. So when I apply that truth to the kingdom message, it completed every standard of judgment for a formula for truth, of which every other gospel did not. I don't know if you get what I mean.
Yep.
Salvation did not complete that formula. Because to establish the truth, first, you must establish the metaphysics. You must go to after the metaphysics now of what is true. Then you go to epistemology, on how do we know it is true. And then you go to the axiology of the beauty and the application and the ethics. When you put all of that formula, then you can know that this is true. And then sometimes some things you really believe was true, along the line when you apply this formula, it falls off. And you start to reprimand yourself, why didn't I know this could not be true? But the kingdom message completed everything. The kingdom message gave, in the axiology of it, or the artistics of it, why we have the beauty of the flower, why we have bees, why we have insects on the earth. The kingdom message completed everything. Why the beauty of the flow of the river fall, why we could stand in front of the ocean and watch the beauty of the ocean and just don't know why we are drawn to such beauty. Why the trees has to be planted in a certain way to make it beauty. The kingdom message completed everything up to that level. Why the color? Why is the sky blue? Why couldn't it be black? Because beyond the sky it is black. The kingdom message gave explanation to that. Why do we have abilities? Why do people do sports? Why are children even born with the mentality that they want to do sports? That some don't say, I'm going to be an Olympian someday. Why do they think like that? And some just starts to sing and just have beautiful voices. The talent makes sense. The gifting makes sense. The abilities make sense. And when you see that even in the secular world, people use this ability, become the great, influence people, become millionaires, influence nations. Everything then came together in the kingdom message. But the salvation message was like bringing me to the door of the store and then leaving me at the store, and I'm standing there and looking at everything on the shelf and can't even go in to buy and just wait at the door that somehow those things will come down the shelf and run to me. That's what made the difference. The kingdom message is really complete. Without it,
when did you start the journey on discovering the kingdom? How?
That was in 2018. That was in 2000. It's not been so long. It's 2004, basically.
How? Tell us.
2014.
Tell us your journey.
My journey as a Christian.
As kingdom, to discover the kingdom.
Yeah, I'm coming to that. My journey. My father is a pastor, so we grew up in the house, in the church, and. Growing up in the church, you have to live a double life if you're ambitious. Because the things we are told to do in the church and the things you see in the church, when you get out of the church, it never does apply to your outside life and to your personal life. It never. The best of the church were those that were hypocrites, that were pretending, and often fighting the things that was necessary and castigating other people, judging other people, pointing finger. And so I knew it was not complete. And so the church then could not explain to me why we had science and why we had biology. And so in 2014, when I had an experience that made me rethink the whole concept of knowledge. Because if you come out of the church the way we are, you would be proud and you think you know everything. You know, you would think coming out of church in Nigeria, you come here, you think you pray the loudest, so you're the most spiritual. You know, and then you interpret the Bible in terms of a mixture of African traditional religion. And people will be wondering, so you think you know too much. You think you know, so you'll be proud, you think you really know that you're complete, that you're going to face life and success is guaranteed, So you'll be so confident in it. But then, when you start to meet certain failures, then you start to blame the devil. But as you blame the devil, you meet people along the line that had made the same failures and they were not Christians. And it became their ministry and they talk about it and eventually they succeeded. And they're not Christians, they're not spiritual, they don't fast, they don't go to church.
And they don't blame the devil.
They don't blame the devil. They don't need deliverance. So you start to question, if my God is a supernatural God, and then you're told that he's omnipotent, knows everything, omniscient, knows everything, has all powers, and then he's supernatural, he can do wonders. If that is the God that you serve, and this one don't serve anything, so there has to be more in him than what you are doing, or what you are saying, or what you believe in. And so I went back to the Bible, and then I saw one of your message then about the kingdom of God. That was what Jesus came for. And I started to say, no, Jesus came to tell us the good news. But when I made that message you preach about, that was in 2000, when you preach about, I was in whatever, convention. When you talked about that Jesus came to tell us about the kingdom, and that the good news does not just end with to preach the good news, because we won't hear good news, but the good news of the kingdom. It was then that I said, the good news of the kingdom. What is the kingdom? Then I thought the kingdom, well, maybe kingdom is a city. And then when I started to acquire understanding of how to interpret stuff and how to research, then I found out that the king and his dominion. Then he went further, and then the king and his dominion. Then I saw that, like you said, 75% or even not 80% of what Jesus preached was about the kingdom. That's what he talked about. And then I found out the kingdom, and then after that, I said, wait a minute. I never knew about this. Nobody ever told me. I only thought that it was Jehovah's Witness that was talking about the kingdom. Because everything they used to say, we go to the kingdom hall. I said, wait a minute. Then when I found out about the kingdom, I found out that if it is a kingdom, then it must be a government. And if it is a government, it must be concerned, it must have citizens. And if it has citizens, it must have concern for every sphere of life of the citizens. And then if it has every sphere of life, so everything that I am, if I'm a citizen, it must be defined in this definition. It must be part of it. It must be part of the definition of the kingdom. It must be part of the government. It must be divided. So I must have a place. Business must have a place in the kingdom. So if business has a place in the kingdom, and I love entrepreneurship, so what is the place of a businessman in the kingdom? And then I got to seek ye first the kingdom and his righteousness. I used to say that all the time, but I thought it was about seeking the church first and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. And even then, I'm telling you, even when you still understand the kingdom, you still struggle with that. You still struggle with trying to leave the things that should be added, because all your life you're praying for the things that ought to be added. You're praying for money to be added. You're praying for the house to be added, a good wife to be added, cars to be added. All those things are the things he said, seek first the kingdom. This thing will be added. We spend our life 90% praying for the things that actually will be added when we discover the kingdom. And that's what we go to church for. And I think that truly is the message of prosperity itself. That's how he's able to get people. Because we go to church to seek for those things. Seek ye first. Then I got to think about it too. That if somehow in every place in the whole world, we expect the government, we expect certain things from the government. So that means now we too as kingdom carriers must be involved in the government. That we cannot be sitting down and voting for unbelievers to be in the government, and then we are expecting them to do good things for us when the Bible says, when the righteous is in power, the people rejoice. So I said, look, we must be in the government. So my perspective of church entirely changed when I understood the kingdom message in 2014, because then it gave us a place in everything in the world, from science to technology to flying aeroplane, to being in government, to sports, to the media. I then found out everything that we are supposed to be in charge. Matter of fact, we are supposed to lead because we have a direct connection with the supernatural God. So we cannot even be second place. We are supposed to set the pace and tune for everything that is going on in the whole world. Because that is what Jesus gave us the Holy Spirit that we might be able to do. That's where my understanding now changed in 2014.
Wow. Now, at what point did you run into this series of DSA on the kingdom?
It was in 2016. It was in 2016.
But you didn't know it was there, right?
No, I did not. I did not even know anything.
What was your reaction, feeling, and when you discovered this whole thing there?
Let me see.
And you started to listen one after the other.
Let me use to qualify. It's like a testimony in the desert that keep walking, and all of a sudden, while he's walking and searching for water, then all of a sudden he turns around and water, not even seeing an oasis, but he turns around and water just popped from the ground in the middle of the desert.
From nowhere.
And from nowhere, water just come out, when you're going towards it, you know where you're going when you go to the oasis to drink water, It's different from when you know I'm going there because I see the oasis, I'm walking there, when I get there, there'll be water. It's different from knowing where you're going than when you know you're thirsty and you're searching for something where water can come from. And all of a sudden, or what could be water, and all of a sudden it comes out from the ground, in front of you, and you just dive into it and say, this is the thing that I've been looking for. I knew there had to be something that satisfied my hunger. This is that something. I believe the kingdom message will only be accepted by a hungry soul.
Somebody told me that when they were listening to the kingdom message and even the truth message and the thinking message, they were telling me, I don't believe that this is a black man. I could learn this from a black man. I was thinking, they were telling me, maybe white people could talk about this, but not a black man. What does that sound to you?
But it's true. They don't believe that a black man can come up with an original revelation of the true gospel. It would be hard to believe. I wouldn't believe it myself. True.
No, these are the black people I'm talking about who are saying this, not white people.
Oh yes.
So blacks don't believe in themselves.
No, they don't. Because what happens, like in America, if you really look carefully, and I'm going to say this because I used to be so deep in so many of the preachers, I'm a pastor, to study them, to get vocabularies and all that. But you see, from the kingdom perspective where I stand now, right, what I see is a contentment theology. A contentment theology where you are massaged to just manage your problem because it's going to be away. Or God can do it. I mean, the vocabulary sounds big and different, but it's still the same. It's still the same escapism theology that is foundational to what they're preaching. And so what you get is entertainment, which is a sudden burst of euphoria,
emotion
for the moment. But then you go back to your situation, If the gospel message was taught properly, we would not even worry about, by now, we would not even worry about what happened in slavery. We would have been free a long time ago. We would have seen the reason for it. It's still the same thing. I mean, it's America, it's beautiful church, beautiful environment, but it is still the contentment theology that is going on there. So there is no original revelation. And besides,
I'm so impressed that you are saying this, because that's what I saw when I went to America. But people in America, they don't tend to say it.
I did not see it until the past 3 years, I didn't see it, I don't know how eyes could be so closed for a long time. I didn't see it until the past 3 years that if this theology is just going to contain you while they keep building the church and expanding it, you really don't see any new testimony come out of it that builds new things. You only see people that move maybe in ministry that will be given notoriety by those that are in place. even if they get to mess up, even if their integrity is a question, even if they cannot stand, they just overlook it and mercy, and then we keep going. But to say the concept of the kingdom is probably established, particularly in the black churches in America, I don't think so. We still being content, we're still being content. We're still worried about the Martin Luther, and it's still a contentment theology on the whole.
So what would be some of the topics, some of the messages on the kingdom that you would like to underline?
Particularly the one that had the kingdom message compared to the message of salvation.
Tell us about that, because many people don't know the difference.
The kingdom message and the gospel of salvation, the salvation message at the end of the day is what we have a lot of time, majority of the church, and everybody still pushing and still believing that all there is about the gospel is about salvation, and that's the only thing that the church is all about. And with that salvation, after that you receive salvation, Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior, then you sit down in the church and wait to go to heaven. And everything you do for the church, you're actually doing it for the kingdom. That's what the salvation message is all about. Ultimately, there's just no way you can follow the salvation message, like you said, and not end up in having the gospel of escapism, because then you escape the world, and then you're just staying in church and waiting, and then we're just bringing money from the outside to give into the church, for the church to build more, and then you keep waiting and waiting till you die and you go to heaven. That's what happens. But the kingdom message is the message that, let me get my eventually we get to address every facet of life. With the kingdom message, it gives us the understanding that we're actually called to take over. You cannot listen to the kingdom message, dwell on it, and still have a servant mentality. You can't. You can't even be a follower listening to the kingdom message. Now the kingdom message gives you power on the inside from within. That word that is said in Ephesians 3:20, that God work according to the power that is in us, is only the understanding of the kingdom message that can bring that power and give you strength to work. Now you are not waiting on God. Now you are working with God. And you see, funny enough, this concept of the kingdom has always existed, even in the Old Testament. God is not new, because there was a place you talked about in that Noahian convention where you told them that Moses came to the Red Sea and was waiting on God, and God told him, move. I'm giving you the power. Stop praying to me. Move. Do something about it. We have been given the power. Now, that was even in the Old Testament. Now that we carry the Holy Spirit, we have too much power. We are carrying a force that is stronger than the strongest hurricane and earthquake. And we are just sitting down with it, And then when I came to the message of the kingdom, I then now have the power inside of me to think and to believe for myself, and to know that I am complete, that God is complete in me, that I don't need anybody, don't need to wait for somebody to confirm you or to lay hand on you. And even the laying hand of people really does not do anything. So the kingdom message gave me the understanding that through government, I have to expect God to be in the government. And if something is wrong, I don't have to wait and blame the government. I don't blame nobody. I'm just going to form a system that I can take over and establish it in place. It might start small, like the mustard seed, but eventually it will become a big tree that will give shapes to every person. And that is my intention. And then I got to know that in the kingdom message. Now, in the kingdom message, when I got into the understanding, I'm telling you, I started to look in my children what they want to do naturally. I don't want to instruct them anymore. You do this, you do this, you do that. What they want to do. I started to seek their ability and their giftings, because that's what God gave to us. Jesus went down and came and gave gifts to men. And so the kingdom message is empowering. It has a way of, it's like what every person is looking for, but they don't even know they're looking for it. Every person that is outside. It is the power of the Holy Spirit in us to take over the world. And without the kingdom message, we can never cover the earth with the gospel in time for Jesus to return. That's what the kingdom message is all about. When I got into contact with the kingdom message, I started to have plans, I have plans. How am I going to help? I look for everywhere. Now, in my family, my grandfather used to. There's a leprosy center not far from where I'm from in Nigeria. So my grandfather used to take food to those leprosy people. My grandfather is long gone, and so when he passed, my mother too with a group of women. She called them the Dorcas women. Take food. Periodically, they take food to that leprosy place. And so one day she told me that it's so sad that whenever she go there, she just thank God because it's so horrible, that it's so bad in that place that even the nurse that was there has decided to resign because the government is not producing enough food. And so I started with a few people in church. We started sending money for food to be given there. And some of my friends too eventually joined, so we send money. If you get on, then I started what I call, when I looked at the whole situation and everything, the kingdom message now and the understanding led me to start a concept that I'm building based on some of the format that I'm adopting from you that I call the Real Culture Initiative. I have a site on website, and I have a place on Facebook. You see, and I like everybody to go and like the Real Culture Initiative. You know, if they can just put hashtag Real Culture in, they would see it. So on weekend, every last Saturday of the month, we feed homeless people here in Atlanta. You know, every last Saturday of the month, and then I have, rather than, I told my mother when I got to the revelation of the kingdom that rather than me starting now to be feeding those leprosy people, I have made up in my mind to see how we can eradicate leprosy in that state.
Beautiful.
Because I told her that I have come to the revelation by understanding of the mission of the kingdom that I am the third generation of those that will be feeding these leprosy people in this family. So rather than that, since the third generation always have the power, the third, so I'm going to find out how we can eradicate. Because when I tell people here in America that we still have leprosy in my state in Nigeria, they don't believe it. They say those kind of things still exist. Oh, I thought that used to be in the 20s. I say, no, we still have it. And leprosy only exists where there's poverty. South America, Africa, and in India. That's where you have leprosy. And it has a cure. And it's so bad in that leprosy place that it breaks my heart. And what really breaks my heart is one day I asked my mother, when they die, what happens to them? She's told me that there is a valley behind where they have the leprosy center. That when they die, they just dump them in that valley. I broke my heart. I said, even in death, there's no dignity for these people. If you go right now to Real Culture Initiative on Facebook, you would see it there. You will see the pictures there. You see the people. You see where my parents, I had to send them to go and give food all the time. I tell them to keep me informed, but I'm going to start traveling after in June. So that's one of the projects that I'm going to talk to the CDC to see how we can start. And one of the things I really want to do, if you go to that website now, and that Facebook page, you will see the children, So it breaks my heart to know that, so I start to think, if these people are in this situation and still having children, it means the basic need of sexuality, of appreciation, of love is still there, but how do they survive? How did they subdue? And some of them have been leprous since they were children. And so I start to see children growing up. And I asked my mother, how do the children do? She said they cannot go to school because they have the stigma of the parents. So now I'm trying to figure out how I can move those children to a place where they can stay and then have a life and then start to go to school, have a normal life apart from that situation, contain this way, and then see if we can push away where they can have at least dignity during when they die, where they can be buried. And all that came out from my understanding of the kingdom gospel, to know that if this is so close to me, I can do something. I can do something, and I must do something. I don't have to wait for the government. I don't have to wait. And I come to find out with the kingdom now that when you start to think like that, then it means that God has the resources coming to that area of life. And then you cannot go to heaven and tell God, well, they did not allow me. No, you you can do something. If you can think it, you can do it. And so that's what actually eventually came out of my understanding of the kingdom gospel. So I started to build that structure in place.
When I was talking about this kingdom, I was laying a lot of emphasis on the fact that the church is supposed to be raising up saviors, deliverers, and people who will go and take care of the earth. What will you say about that? Is that the obligation or the calling of the church? Will you agree to that?
I agree to that 100%. That the church is supposed to raise up people who think like God to continue the work of God here on the earth. And even if you have to put it that we have to help God carry out his work here on earth, that's why he sent us here. Even if we want to become a friend and help our friend, we are here to help him take back the earth, and which is basically the concept of the kingdom itself. That his kingdom would come, that it's a big responsibility. We talked about it, I think, in Psalm 151?
Yeah.
That you said in Romans that the earth has been given to the sons of men. That when you find out that revelation, it gives you now the impetus to set up systems and to take over and not to complain anymore. That when you see a problem, all you do is go to talk to God about it, and then you come and set system in place to do it. That's what the church is supposed to do. The church is supposed to prepare every person as a citizen of heaven. Now, that's why we have gifts in the church. Teach them about their gifts. Help them discover their gifts and their abilities, the areas that they have passion, and put them to lead in those areas to help take back the earth. And because whenever we go into a place as people that have been children of the kingdom, we're supposed to exert God's influence wherever. Because, it is impossible. During the election in the U.S., somebody said something that was profound. He said, it is impossible for you to leave your Christian head at home and go to the polling booth. You definitely go with the same head that you have in church to work. So if we have the head and the understanding of citizens, that we are citizens of the kingdom, there's no way we go to work and compromise.
Yep.
We go to the place to make it better. And if we have gifts, we will not relent in using those gifts, that gift to help people in every sphere of life, without excuse or without complaint, even if we die in the process. It's our responsibility. We're not even supposed to wait for the government. It should be, we are the government. The Bible said in Isaiah that the government shall be upon his shoulders, and of the increase of his government there shall be no end. We are the ones to carry, we are the legs and the hands, we are the ones to carry the government of God to every sphere, whether it be politics. We aspire to those places. If it's not right, we aspire to take over, to train somebody that will know leadership and governance and economics, take over and put things right. We can't be sitting down and be voting for those that are not carriers of the kingdom and giving an excuse for them and then blaming them and then saying the government is not doing it. We are the ones to do all of these things. And that's what really the church was meant to do. That is what the understanding. But the church now is just to expand, build more branches, expand, get money to the center, exalt the geo in the center, and then he feels he's more important and closer to God than everyone else. That's just the challenge.
Wow. So I spoke also about the fact that the earth also needs redemption, just like man needs redemption. And that because the earth was cursed as a result of the sin of man. Yeah. And so those consequences has to be handled and taken care of by the man himself. Mm-hmm. And that's responsibility before the land. And but what people preach in church today is, no, you are saved, go to heaven.
That is the ultimate, the antithesis of the gospel of salvation. If you just focus on the gospel of salvation, you will eventually have that based on the human nature. Because it becomes a contentment where you just sit down and then you expect to go to heaven. And then you detach yourself from the earth entirely. You detach yourself from the rulership of the earth entirely. When you detach yourself from the rulership on the earth entirely, it means now you neglect your responsibility. So you become irresponsible to the plan of God entirely on the earth. And then eventually, what happens is that leads to selfishness. Because then you're just concerned about you and yours and the few of you that have the same belief. You become them and us, those and us. So now you're only waiting to go. It's a very selfish and egocentric concept at the end of the day that comes out of the excesses of the gospel of salvation when it's not checked. Salvation is just the door. And then you get into the house, and in the house you have everything, so many rooms in the house. But if you stand at the door, you eventually block the door from other people, which is what the Pharisees did. You block other people from entering, and you yourself do not enter. And so you start to set standard, and then you start to judge other people. That must come out of the gospel of, at the end of the gospel of salvation. If salvation does not lead you into the kingdom, will you become a kingdom citizen and try to take back the earth, occupy till I come, take back the earth step by step? If you don't do that, you will eventually have what we have there. Because eventually now you start to feel sorry for yourself, you start to feel, ask for pity from God, and then you're waiting on God to take responsibility. Like when you have government gather people to pray for God, a day of prayer, to pray for God to help the country, that is ludicrous, That is still the gospel of salvation, waiting on God to come and do what he has already ordained man to do, and give man the gift and the abilities to do. That must come out of the gospel of salvation, no matter how we do it, if it is not managed and does not continue to the kingdom. I mean, salvation is necessary, but then if it is just that is all there is, then that's like the halfway, because the gospel is the good news of the kingdom, and the kingdom is not in heaven. It starts right here. We're supposed to take back the earth for God, because when Jesus died, Jesus restored everything. Like what you said one time, God did not curse man; He cursed the earth because of man. So if Jesus came back to the earth and shed His blood, so now the earth now is waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God to get back into the earth, because the greatest resources are in the earth. From the gold, the silver, the water, the crude oil, everything is in the earth. The metal, everything is in the earth. Even the trees and everything is in the earth. So the earth is waiting now to give back that which was held back because of the limitation and the struggle of Adam. So we are the ones now to get into inventions. We are the ones now to get into productivity in every sphere of life because of what Jesus did.
But it's like the unbelievers are doing a better job at that than the church.
But I wouldn't blame God if He gave gifts to man, and even unbelievers have discovered the person of God. Because every principle that is good, there's no way you can tell me that anything that is good can come from the devil. Particularly when it's
comes from the Bible says it comes from above.
It comes from above, So technology and cars that we drive, you can't tell me, Satan will not even let you cross the ocean.
So when the children of God are sitting, while they are sitting in church and praying to go to heaven, the ordinary people who are also in God's image are actually taking advantage and doing what God wants the church to do.
The Bible did not say that Jesus died for the church. It said, for God so loved the world, and gave His only begotten Son, that whomsoever believe now would then have eternal life. So in the operation of the earth, on the earth realm, I think Jesus gave gifts to man, but whomsoever would believe that it's Jesus, believe in Him, will now have eternal life. Because we see very good work, good concern, causes for malaria, to eradicate malaria. We see all those has to be of God. If we start to sit down and wait, like it says, that we are that we are born again, we are for whom we follow, you also justified to be called to conform to the image of the Son. If we think that we are the one, the predestinated ones, and then we are in charge, we are better than other people, that becomes pride in itself, and that is wrong. But you see, we were the first called to go and bring the rest of the people, and to go and let them know, like Paul did. And they told them that, look, I see that you're worshiping an unknown God, but I have to let you know that God that you're looking for, He's the one that I'm telling you about. So when people have gifts and abilities, even if when they are unbelievers, have gifts and abilities in science and technology, we tell them, I see that you're doing something good and you have knowledge. But I want you to understand that knowledge that you have came from an unknown God that you don't even know. And then when they ask that question further, then we now introduce Jesus Christ to them. We're not supposed to sit there and say, oh, unbeliever made the telephone, I'm not going to use it. That would be ludicrous. And to say, oh, Satan taught the unbeliever to make the telephone. That is not true either. So I think we have the whole concept wrong. We've sat down to judge other people rather than to understand what God is doing on the earth and to be a part of it and to get involved as soon as to change the earth for Him, to take back the glory of the earth to God.
Beautiful. Well, what about in that teaching on the series on the kingdom, there was a time that I said something that was very controversial to Christians, and Christians were fighting it, but it's like they later on, cool down, which is for you to really rule and reign on earth, you need more faith in yourself than you need faith in God when it comes to ruling and reigning on earth. Because that unbelievers, the reason why they're able to do what they're doing is that they don't wait on God. They are not just saying we have faith in God, God will come and do it. They have faith in themselves. And that faith in yourself is what makes you to actually take charge. And I was saying that the Christians, rather, they are overemphasizing faith in God, that God has to do everything for them. What will you say about that? I don't know if you heard that particular
statement. I heard that statement. I remember I heard that statement. And I thought about it for a long time. And you see, like I said, for you to know if anything is true, there have to be references, and then you have to consider the metaphysics and then everything about it. When I considered what you said, and I found out when you look through the Bible. Now, first, when I got to that, I believe that it's true, is when I looked at Moses, and the life of Moses. Moses lived all those years in the house of Pharaoh. And then when he was 75, then when he was 40, he ran to Egypt. And then when he was 75, when he was 80, was when he was called. And when God called Moses, Moses doubted that he was the person that God was looking for. But yet God had already put everything in Moses, preparing for this particular course all the way. But Moses still doubted. So God now had to walk him through the process of showing him who he was. Remember you talked about that place.
Making him to believe.
Making him to believe.
Not in God. Not in God.
Not in God, but in himself. Then the day that Moses believed, when he went back to God, God said something that was unique. He said, see, now I have made you like God over Pharaoh. That particular place in the book of Deuteronomy, I think Exodus got my attention. It got my attention that, wow, God told Moses, see? So in other words, keep trying, keep going. What are you going to believe? Keep trying. So the more you wanted to work with God, the more he had the confidence in himself. So when he came back on that final time, God told him, see, now I have made you like God over Pharaoh. So when I got to understand that, I got to understand truly then that Moses must believe more in himself, that he has been equipped, he has been structured. God knew his death, his birthday, and everything, and God has planned everything. God is complete. When God does a thing, he doesn't do it half. God doesn't wait for us to grow up to say, well, let me see if you're going to be able to. No, he has already done everything. Every prophecy we have is actually taking us back to what was already completed. So now makes, Moses did not have confidence in himself, but God already has finished the work with Moses when Moses was born. So Moses did not need to be going back to God to ask God, please, are you going to help me? So we really do need confidence in ourselves. At some point, you just have to, when you come to realize the power that is in you, you need to have more confidence in yourself than you have in God, because God is complete. You are incomplete. You cannot be doubting something that is complete, and yet you are half. Something that is complete is only waiting for you to fill up and become whole, to do what you were called to do.
So the faith, the confidence, the faith you are having in God is not for God's sake. God is complete. It's for you.
No, it's not for him. It's for you. It's for you. Your faith is for you. Your fasting is for you. Your prayer is for you. It's just for you. God is already complete. He's completed everything. He's done. It's all for you to align yourself, to be able to be who he wants. And sometimes you tend to think, am I in step with what he would expect me to be on this date and is this time? If he was to show me the plan on the 30th of August, of April 2018, am I there in the plan? Because he's already complete in the plan. But could you say you're there in the plan? Because sometimes you're just on the plan that is like the 30th of March 2012. So you really need to have confidence in yourself in reference to who has called you. But you see, in the kingdom message, right, it breaks it down properly where it gets you to see God correctly. When you see God correctly, then you can see yourself correctly. There's just no way you don't have confidence. But in the message of salvation, when you keep going to for salvation every single day, you feel shocked in yourself. In the gospel of the kingdom, you see how complete you are. You don't need anybody to lay hand on you. You don't need to wait on anybody. You're not shocked. In the gospel of the kingdom, you don't even remember all these things about curses. You are cursed, or problems, or struggle. You get to understand the only thing standing between you and there is just the knowledge that you don't have. That's what you get to see. Because God is complete in himself. That's what you see in the gospel of the kingdom. That is just a lack of knowledge. And so you become a student. So now you get to understand why the Bible said that the meek shall inherit the earth. The meek are people that are teachable. Some people think they know everything already. Some people think they are super Christian already. They won't even listen to another person. But when you are meek, you go in to say, okay, let me see if he can already challenge what I know, if there's a truth to it. If I can compare it to the standard of truth, and it's a better truth than mine, then I have to drop mine. And that happens in every way. That's why we stumble, we fall, we stand up. We don't make those same decisions anymore, because even a decision that leads to your failure, you once upon a time thought it was the ultimate, It's like being an entrepreneur, start your first business, and you think that's what's going to bring the $1 million. When you fail, you get to understand that you don't know everything. Now you go to learn, not just in the books, but from those that have been before you and their biography. And then you come back again, you try. You really will not fail. You can fail in the same thing like twice, but the third time, you really will not fail in the capacity you did the first time. So you move gradually towards it. So with the gospel of the kingdom now, you get to see God's nature gradually. The more you compare God to the perfection and the absoluteness of God, the more you try to see that if this is my Father, then I think I am better than this. I just need to get the knowledge to be who he wants me to be.
There is a message in that place where I said the kingdom doesn't just belong to the church.
No, the kingdom don't belong to the church. The church should be the training ground for the citizens to go and take over the kingdom.
But right now, when you look at the churches worldwide, they almost think that
it's a slave camp, When you look at the church now, it's a slave camp. And it's a place where, there's egocentrism that rules over it, Everybody's struggling to be the closest friend to the head pastor, The head pastor now. There's something that is said in philosophy. They say when man becomes God, inevitably corruption must arise. And so when we start to make the GOs, the head of churches, they play God, corruption must arise on the level of the people trying to get closer to him, sycophancy, and then they tell him yes when it should be no. Those things must happen. And he himself must gradually, if he's not careful, he puts himself in the place of God. And eventually, those are the ills too of leadership, when you think that the rules don't apply to you. I mean, these things, you don't even need to look at the Bible to see like David or to look at the church the way it is. You just have to learn leadership in university and know that this applies, where you think the rules don't apply to you, that you are above the law. It's the corruption that comes with absolute power, And those things must happen in those places because it's very tempting. Eventually, you don't have the paraphernalia by yourself to check your authority or your ordinance if you don't have another power above you that you look up to or you lead the people to. But then when you have the kingdom message and then leadership now, like Jesus said, is not like the Gentiles or the Pharisees do, where they lord over people, which is what we're having in the church. They lord over the people. They want to be in control of their life. One of my friends said something. He said, you can't even go anywhere without taking permission from the GO. And that's horrible, They want to lord over people. They want to control your life. If you don't agree to exactly what they say, they start to think that you're their enemy. The guy that brings the most is the best of the people. As all those things do happen, But in the concept of the kingdom, you find out that as a leader, you are called to develop leaders in every person because you cannot rule over the image of God. And so in the areas that I have my own gift, and you have your own gift. So I am called to help you, make you better. And then they pull out that God's ability in you and then fire you up to work, just like somebody would help me do in that same capacity. So leadership in the kingdom is different. Leadership is not lording over the people. It's about developing and helping the people develop the gift that is in them. That's what leadership in the concept of the kingdom is. Because, we have the King of Kings. We don't have the kings of servants. We don't have the king of grandchildren. None of us is a grandchild to God. We are all children of God. We are all kings and priests. So how can you be more of a king and me, I'm a less king? It's not happen. We are all kings and priests. We all carry the image of God in the same capacity. There's nobody that is greater. And so the kingdom message really breaks that down and then eventually helps you see people correctly, because now you see God correctly. And that's what.
But what about then? So it means the so-called fivefold ministry is being hugely misunderstood. Because right now, the fivefold ministry means I'm the boss. And you just come and minister to my needs. And fivefold ministry, I'm the one who is called by God. You are not called.
No, the fivefold ministry, every concept at all that, you can say some of these things to the simple mind. But when you get to a mind that thinks deeper, analytically, not just subjectively thinking, but has objective standard to measure their thoughts, you really cannot deceive them in that sense because you're the fivefold. They will even follow you. Because every learned person, that's why when you meet people that have the gift of teaching, they want to see what is your past, what is your certificate, what do you know? Every thinking person will know that you cannot be 100% in anything. Everybody has a percentage of it in them. You can't just be the boss of 100% and then running everybody and then say you're the fivefold ministry or you're in charge. No, you cannot be. Matter of fact, even God is too big to put himself in one man, so he put himself in all of us and break down and see we still not big enough to carry him. You can't be. That concept, any concept of egocentrism, of trying to make people servants or put other people down so you can lift yourself up, is not God at all. It's not of God. The fivefold ministry is your givens to serve. And you cannot even be 100% a pastor, evangelist, apostle, and then you just the 100% of the greatest in the whole world. No, you would definitely specialize in one area. You can't be the fullness of everything all by yourself.
Because the idea of the fivefold ministry is to prepare the body to the image of
Christ.
Yes, and so that they will now go and do the work of the ministry.
Go and do the work of the ministry, yes.
But today, the people doing the work of the ministry are the fivefold ministers.
Yes, you are given the gift. And it's a big responsibility, because when you say you're given the gift, you're carrying a part of God that gives you the ability to help God prepare these other people for what he wants to do. And sometimes when you lord over them, you're not really preparing them. You're subduing them. So you help God carry that ability to prepare other people. You become a representative to prepare other people to go and serve. But oftentimes, that's not what we have. We just have a situation where the fivefold just sit down and want to control everybody, want to be in charge of everybody, and just sit down, everybody report and listen to me. They don't really teach or prepare the people to go and serve. Because gifts are given for us to use to prepare people for service. In other words, to bring out the leadership in them so that they would have the confidence to be who God called them to be and help take back the earth.
But look at the churches, not just in Nigeria right now, all over the world. What is fivefold? They are the ones in charge. And they are the ones really serving, and you are just coming and giving them your tithe and offering.
Yeah, but you see, in most of those capacities too, when they see somebody who has a gift, they suppress the person. They don't let them grow. And they come up with this statement like, you cannot have a different vision from me. I experienced that. You cannot have a different vision from me. And then when
as if you two are not made in the image of God.
I'm not made in the image of God.
He's the only one that is.
You should not have a vision. It should not be a thinking. It should not be a thinking entity. As you just sit down and just take it. Okay, thank you, and then go out there. And then you see all those things. That's where you have all those kind of concepts come from. And those concepts come out of capitalism. It is not Christian.
Yes.
There are so many concepts in the church in America that you can listen to, and you hear capitalism. But it has been repeated so many times. Oh, yeah, so many times that even the people don't even know it. But when you come from a different culture, you can compare so many cultures. And when you read so many concepts and so many government situations, you can compare so many things and know that this cannot be God. This must be capitalism. So many of those concepts come out, where people, you must pay for conferences. And then they say, oh, when you pay attention. so many people cannot afford to pay, All those are capitalistic terms and tendencies. And when you turn down the TV, you see it all the time, that it's capitalism's root, really. It's capitalism, really. It's not theology. It's not of God.
What are you planning to do to spread this kingdom message? Because there are so few people who understand it, and so many people who need to understand it.
Right now, I've been teaching on it, and I've been seeing a lot of reaction from people that I've been teaching that are so happy has freed them. For example, I put a few people I have in church for the past 1 year to I take away every form of religiosity. Like, why do we have church? I make them ask questions. I tell people ask questions. Why do you come to church? Because we've never asked all our life. We have to go because our parents went, so it become a standard. So we just go. You feel guilty when you don't go, So I asked them, why do you come? Nobody could tell me. So we started to talk about it, Oh, we have to fast every first day. Why do you fast? Nobody could really talk about why they fast. So I had to put them in a situation where we just forget everything for a while so that we can be relearned, But then it's not so much so what he has done to them like what he has done to me, Because first, I have to have the understanding. I have to take responsibility of my gift, of my talents, and the abilities, and the doors that God has opened, and I have to. Now, in the places that I introduce the kingdom, I first understand that the people, like the earlier Christians, many slaves of them, all those people, they understood it. So they first come to touch the heart. When you touch the heart, it is easy to draw their hand into the kingdom. And that's what we're supposed to do. To go and just dump the gospel and theology on them is not going to work. They will not even listen to you. So first we go with NGO to help. Now what I'm trying to do with the leprosy concept, it's going to touch a lot of heart. There's just no way anybody sees those pictures that don't respond with tears in their eyes, So first we've got to figure out how we're going to touch their hands, touch the hands of the people. And then from there, another thing I plan to study, there's a small school where I'm from. I want to go there and find out all the students that have been carrying first in their class. I want to call it the first project. And then most of them are poor. So I'm going to say, scholarship, if I convert dollar to naira, is not much. I can support them. I can build them to be leaders. I can start to infuse them with understanding of leadership concept because my passion is really about leadership. So that tomorrow they can grow to be responsible citizens of if you can train one leader to become a leader after God's heart, you probably have touched 5,000 people in that environment. But if you feed the 5,000 people with food, you can only feed them maybe 1 day or 2 days. But if you train one leader that can change the concept of governance and rulership, in the next 10 years, you probably have taught 10,000 people. So I've been thinking hard in my solitude about this concept of how I can start like a mustard seed. I don't want to go. Some people are just going to stand into a post. Who are you? So I'm sort of, based on our understanding of our people, I'm trying to see how I can enter subliminally. And then by the time the tree grows, nobody will be able to oppose it. And first, it has to do with touching their heart and then trying to expose them to what I know to be superstitions and deceptions that is not true. Make them question those things gradually and set their minds free. I believe that would help.
Amazing, amazing. Now, what about the people you are teaching? Do you think some of them are catching the concept of the kingdom and the difference between the gospel of the kingdom and salvation?
I don't even measure oftentimes my progress by the people that I'm teaching. I measure it first with my wife. Once my wife that listens to me preach can believe and say, oh, really? Wow, I didn't know that was true. Everybody else will believe. Because, that's your wife that sees you every day, knows everything about you. And if you can explain this concept to her, and she sees how amazing it is and how wonderful it is, and then she goes along with it, and then we change our ways together, that convinces me that everybody else is believing. Not just telling me, because everybody is amazed by it and they're so enlightened by it. So I don't just take their word for it. I know it is true if the closest people to me can be affected by this concept.
Beautiful. Beautiful. How do you see your future? Do you see your future in America, or you want to go back to Africa and do something?
I'm already, put it this way, I'm already on my way out though. I was waiting for my kids to get into where they can, I don't have problems with them being in school 3-4 weeks, and then I start to do. My wife and I, we know already out. We watched a video one time, like 3 years ago, and when we watched that video, it was some video that was acted in Tanzania of a little boy that was walking back from school. It was Big Daddy Weave. That's the name of that musical. It's on the internet. You can watch it. Big Daddy Weave. I'm amazed. He went to Tanzania and then he followed up the video with a little kid that was in school. He showed how the kid was in school, was kicking around they were playing around old basketball. And then he followed that boy to school. Then the boy changed into the Maasai club and went to take care of cattle. And I was just watching, my wife and we look at each other and there was tears in our eyes. And I said, I know what that boy is thinking. He's thinking about milking the cow. He's not thinking about McDonald's. And while we were watching that, my kids were disturbing us because they wanted to go to the swimming pool. And I just said, I know what that kid is thinking. He'll never imagine swimming pool. He's not thinking about McDonald's or hamburger. He's thinking about how he's going to milk the cow and then he's going to go back to school the next day in that old short knicker with the torn sandals, kicking that ball for pleasure at break time. When I watched that, I just looked at my wife and she looked at me. She said, baby, we must do something. And I started to think of the hot sun's rise, the hot sunny day down in a village road in Africa of a little boy carrying a bucket of water to the stream or from the stream, what his hopes in life are, what he's thinking about. So I take my mind there and I just couldn't imagine that state of mind. It's like if you go to my Facebook page, Real Culture Initiative, and see those leprosy people, there's a woman sitting there on the bed with half her leg. And I start to think, what does she think about love? What does she think about her husband? What is her hope? She knows death is coming. She's been rejected all her life. What is life is for those people? So I just think about it that we must do something. We just got to figure out how we can do something. We just can't wait to pay off the house and buy Rolls Royce. And these are the mundane things of life. And it's become an obsession, Funny enough, I used to go to Congo because I used to do some business in West Africa. So the young pastor that was my business manager over there, we started a church. I haven't started a church over there just because he wanted to, he just left his church there. And then a few days ago, he sent me the picture. The church is a lot of people. And I've not been there in the past 4 years. A lot of people. And I have proposals for people to teach leadership and all that. And then there's another lady, she was here from England. She has an NGO to teach young girls to be involved in government and in politics in Nigeria. And she has a network of 740 local government chairman women. And she said, look, if you come to Nigeria, for 3 weeks, for that whole 3 weeks, you're going to be speaking 4 hours every single day. Because when she talked to me and I talked to her about the concept of what I think is because I think the culture is the problem. I've come to the realization the culture is not anthropology, the culture is the problem. Our culture has some limiting effect on us. It has messed up our mind. When you study anthropology, it's either nature or nature. The nurturing is not the nature of us to be stupid or crazy or to be messed up. It is the nurturing. And if it is the nurturing, then it is our culture that nurtures us. The first things that we hear, the environment, the culture, the chaos. For you to even stand up in Nigeria, right, and try to turn on the electricity and it don't come on, it does something in you that you really don't believe in the system, don't believe in anything, right? For you to put a cup under the tap and turn the tap and the water don't come out when you're expecting it to come out, it does something to your psyche. My children cannot say they experience that. They don't know what it's like for electricity not to be on. They don't know what it's like to go to the refrigerator, there's no food. They don't even know what it's like not to exist without money. Because my children will tell you, Daddy, just use the card. When you say you don't have money, they say use the card. They never expect that when the card is swiped, it's not going to pay for the items. So their psyche is different. They don't see impossibility. They don't believe in impossibility. They don't have to work their faith the way I have to work my own faith to believe. They don't have to do all of that, you know. And when I think about anthropology and nurture and culture and see how much I just have to work my faith to believe that I'm going to get paid on Friday, then nobody doubts in America that Friday is a payday. But in our culture, people stay 6 months and don't get paid. They don't even believe they're going to go to the bank and put this machine in the ATM and money is going to come out of it. So those things do something to us. To start from there and to believe in science and technology and going to the moon and Mars, oh no, man, that's a journey, you know. In this country, all you have to do is believe, and you can be, and you can do it. If you don't want to, you just rely on what you have. But in us, they don't believe in the possibility. You don't even believe in a country that when the government says something, it will happen. Here, while they are saying it, while Donald Trump is arresting immigrants, they already started arresting them like yesterday. But in our country, it never happened because you see failed projects from one government after 8 years, taken over by another government after another 8 years, and you can see projects that have been there for 16 years ever since you were a child, and the government have been voting on it. All that does something to your psyche that you really don't believe. So imagine the journey of faith for such people to believe in technology and science, when the simple science of turning on the light never comes on. We take it for granted, but it holds you down in life. And then to sit where in church where nobody believes that you can, never told you can, and then it's become easy to give all the responsibility to God, because then you don't believe in anything about yourself.
That's why faith in self is much more important than just believing in God.
It's much more important, you know, because God is complete, but you're not. It is. So we're going to do something, you know. Matter of fact, I want to start something now so that in the next 3 years we'll be really, really stabilized to see how we can influence the culture, particularly.
So I'm not the only one going back to Africa for good.
Oh, no. Besides that, we can't even retire in America. You know, old age in America is not going to be fun. What are you going to do? You can't retire in America unless you want to stay in nursing home or, God help you, die before time. How can you retire here? I mean, look at, I'm home now. I'm going to be on the flight in the next few hours because I have to hear I'm home now. And there's just nobody. The guy lives here in the next, I don't know him. The other guy here, I don't know him. He don't talk to me either. When my father is 80 years old, he's coming here next week. When he comes here, he's saying, who lives there in that house? I said, I don't know. What about this one? I don't know. But you can't live like this. You know, you can't live like this in old age. What am I going to do in old age? Sit down and watch TV? You know, I mean, the kids are out of here. It's so quiet right here, right now, since until maybe like 5 p.m. when children ride bicycles and stuff. That's how it is. How am I going to live? I mean, I have friends in this city, and I've not seen some of them live not far from me, but I've not seen them in the past 1 year. Well, some are working in the night, some are in the day. But you talk on the phone, you can't live like this. You know, so it's not going to be good.
So there is hope for Africa if people like you are planning to go back.
There's just no way you don't go back because, you know, DSA, at some point in life, you have to define what is success and what is significance. You know, success is easy to achieve, but significance is the journey. When God told Abraham, I will bless you, that's success. And then I will make you a blessing, that's significance. And everybody is hungry, that's what they really look for significance. That's why the Bible, that's really the kingdom message in itself. That says, seek ye first the kingdom, all other things shall be added. We are looking for success. But if we put our eyes on significance to influence people to help people for God, success comes. So significance is the journey. And significance don't mean I have to be like Obama. If I influence, you know the story of the little boy that picked up those shells and threw them back in the water because they were left by the shore side, and they asked him, man, how are you going to do that? He said, look, for this little one that I've been able to put back to give it life, I have changed his life. I might not be able to walk the whole length of this beach to do it, but for this one, I have changed his life. That's what you come to, just the one that you can change. You know, Jesus changed 12 people. I can change more than 12 people. You know, it takes 300 people to change a culture. I can do that. I can. All I need now is the knowledge of the sociology, the anthropology, and leadership, and to teach them and to walk them through the process. Through it. That's what is needed. Not just for them to sit down and tell them that God is going to come through one day. No, I can do that. That would be evil if I Don't worry, God is going to come do it. Just wait on God. That's what I've been hearing. Wait on God. The Bible says they that wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. So that means they're doing something and they're getting tired. But to cross my feet and wait on the Lord, that's evil. That would be evil.
Profound. What is the last word you would like to say to our viewers before we go? About the kingdom and the kingdom messages on YouTube. Do you want to send them there as well?
The kingdom message on YouTube, on Dr. Sanders Adelaja's YouTube, is comprehensive. It starts from, if you listen to it from the beginning to the end, you have understood the foundation of philosophy and psychology. You've understood what even Socrates, Aristotle, and they struggle with, in terms of applying philosophy and psychology to church, to God. The kingdom message is what will help you make sense of God and the you. When Miles Monroe talked to Benny Hinn about the kingdom message, Benny Hinn said, man, boy, we got it all wrong all these years. I remember that word. Benny Hinn said it. The Bible said, boy, we got it all wrong all these years. Because we are citizens of the kingdom. Wherever we are, our territory, we are supposed to change it for Christ. We are citizens of the kingdom. The concept of where we are on a journey, we don't belong here, we go to heaven. No, we are here to change this place for Christ, for God. If you listen to that kingdom message, you've gone through a course of who God is and what he wants you to be for him. And it's so detailed because it comes down to everyday life. The problem we have in the Christian world is the ethics, applying all these things to the everyday life. That is the dichotomy. That's why people fall off. People are leaving the church not because of the gospel message or because of the kingdom message, but because of the gospel of salvation. Because at the end of the day, they will have too many questions that only the kingdom message can answer. And if you don't come in contact with the kingdom message, you really don't have any need to continue with the church. You can as well be like the thief on the cross. Just wait and just accept Jesus before you die. You still make heaven. But the kingdom message will walk you through God, and then your influence. It will come to that place where the prodigal son came to, that said he came to himself and said, wait a minute, let me go back to my father's house. I'm a king's kid. Wait a minute. It will drive away low self-esteem. It will drive away complex. Because these things will now get you to know that the only problem you have now is lack of understanding. It's not the lack of the opportunity thereof, or the lack of the substance or the structure or the impossibility of what is in your spirit or your mind. It will just get you to understand that you only lack knowledge. So you need to acquire it, learn from it, step back, research, and build again. It will. And at the end of the day, it will give you the responsibility on the earth, not just to say, well, we're waiting on God. No. You become a leader by understanding the concept of the message of the kingdom. You build the leadership. When the Bible tells us in Genesis, and be fruitful and multiply, you find your seed now, you grow, and then eventually to multiply is the significance that the Bible talks about. But first, the seed has to grow, and then it must bring fruit. And then after the fruit, it must multiply, which is basically significance of the kingdom. That's it. So to find the fruit first, or the seed first, is the salvation. But if you stay on that salvation, you're going to rot in that spot. But you must bring forth fruit. Salvation in itself, and eventually with the gospel of escapism, don't even bring fruit. Because you eat your own fruit. And no tree eats his own fruit. You can't we don't even eat human flesh, you see. But then you bring fruit. And then the fruit now rise and multiply and become other trees that other people pluck from. And that becomes significance. It's all about the kingdom, really.
Idee, you've done so well. In 30 minutes' time, I have to come on to continue the series on Chris Oyakilome and the God of Mammon. And but meanwhile, respect. Thank you so much. And greet your family for me.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you. God bless. Thanks, everyone.
See you in 30 minutes.
Bye.